Today, well, hello everyone, first of all. Today, I get the pleasure of sitting down with Dr. Melissa Durfey, who is the founder of multiple innovative brands, including My Self-Care Doc, Beauty Puncture, Beauty Puncture Facial Rejuvenation System, and Mage and Maven Bespoke Botanicals. Did I get that right?
You did. Excellent.
Perfect. And she is a multi-award winning board certified East Asian medicine provider and esthetician who has been practicing her unique blend of integrated cosmetology for over a decade. Through in-office and online treatments, she has helped thousands of people from all over the world feel amazing in and about their skin without fillers and without filters, while transforming their relationship with self-love and self-care. Dr. Melissa's clinical passion is inclusive medicine, and her practice is designed to celebrate beauty and wellness beyond Western and ableist standards. She currently lives and works in beautiful Petaluma. I hope I'm also saying that right,
You
California.
are.
Perfect.
Yes. Wine country represent.
Ooh, yeah. I'm not a wine drinker, but man,
The
uh,
vineyards are gorgeous, even if you don't drink wine.
I bet I can only imagine. Dr. Melissa um, resides with her husband, Sam, who is a certified cannabis educator. That's fun. And when she is not at the office, you can find her out wine tasting at a community event or at a local karaoke bar. Ooh.
Yeah.
Today, Melissa is going to share about her experiences with the medical system and the beauty industry, both within and outside, and how that or her experience with both of those industries have ultimately led her to her mission of helping people smash body shame and love themselves fully. Melissa, I will hand it over to you, girlfriend.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here today. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself to start. I was born in a small town in Oregon in a rural area. And I always saw myself somewhere else. For most of my adult life, I lived in Portland, Oregon, and the metro area that surrounded Portland, Oregon. But at the beginning of 2021, my now husband, we were married last May, and I decided to make a change, and we packed up all our stuff and we moved down to the sunshine of California for a new start. And we really, really love it here. Um, for as long as I can remember, my passion has been skin. And I remember back in high school in advanced chemistry, I did my project on cosmetic chemistry, and made lip balms for my friends and their moms, and it
You
was
were
just
destined to be in the skincare industry. Holy smokes.
right. Yeah. And so, I did the college thing. I was heading towards health education, and that was the first time that I really, really felt the stigma as a larger bodied person in the health education realm. There was a ton of fat phobia, a ton of ableism, and it just really rubbed me the wrong way. And so I decided that after getting my bachelor's degree that wasn't my path. And so, I worked as a makeup artist, worked at the counter, how a lot of makeup artists start. I worked at the
Yeah.
counter, and I did some freelance makeup work for a while. And I was really, really enjoying my job, except for still feeling like an outsider, and I've always sort of felt like an outsider, like a beauty industry misfit, if you will.
Yeah.
And that became even more clear when I was in beauty school. And beauty school was really, really, the coursework wasn't hard for me. The messaging was hard for me. There's something wrong with you and we need to fix it mentality that I
Oh.
found in beauty school. It just really bothered me, and I realized then like how Western centric our our beauty standards are. And when I started investigating the way that beauty is seen and the way that it's done around the world, yes, of course there are absolutely other cultures that have messages, and like Brazil and their plastic surgery, and different parts of the world and their ableism. It's really widespread, but there are places in the world where it's not as toxic,
Mm.
as far as, you must look this specific way in order to be deemed attractive in our society.
Do you think those standards are still have such a, mm, I don't know, I guess a stronghold now compared to when you were first beginning to get into the industry?
So certain parts of it have gotten better and
Okay.
certain parts of it have gotten worse.
Oh, okay.
So there has been a lot more inclusivity. And I noticed that when I was in medical school, which I later ended up in medical school, hence the doctor title, things were starting to shift. I ended up in medical school because Eastern medical school, because I wanted holistic training. I wanted more extensive holistic training. I was tired of, slapping products on people's face and sending them out the door. I wanted to
Mm,
be able to look at them from the inside out, and figure out sort of root causes of skin issues rather than just the band-aid approach that we get here in the West. One of the things that I noticed during my research is that we were starting to move into the social media era. And
mhm.
as the social media era sort of picked up steam, the filters came out. And that's where I see where it has gotten worse, because what do people's real faces even look like anymore? I have a policy on all of my social media. I don't use filters on any of my social media. I'm not using a filter now here on Zoom talking to you. I don't use filters for any of my work that I share.
Okay.
And I really, really strongly believe in, like, filters can be fun for sure, like put the dog ears on, or
Yeah.
the weird sunglasses. Those are fun, but when we're talking about like smoothing and just real skin has texture. I'm just
Mhm.
going to come out and say it, real skin
Mhm.
has texture.
Oh, wow. I didn't even oh gosh, like the whole filters thing. And I can imagine how, I don't know if frustrating is the right word, but I'm going to use it for the sake of this conversation, how frustrating that could be for someone like you in your industry, creating
It can
this
be,
false idea
yeah,
of
what sort of results people are looking for. Unrealistic expectations is part of it. And unrealistic expectations of what people feel like they should look like.
Mhm.
We've always had the magazines with the Photoshop and the airbrushing, but now it's not just the magazines, it's retouching on TV, it's Instagram, Facebook, every single piece of media is filtered and retouched. So when we move to seeing each other in real life, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you can feel a sort of way. And you can
For
feel like,
sure.
wow, I don't measure up to these people. And that's really heartbreaking to me as a provider,
Yeah.
uh, and as someone who is, passionate about people feeling good about themselves. Like a big part of what I do is helping people love what they see when they look in the mirror. And that comes from many, many years of me not being able to love what I saw in the mirror.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, I am kind of speechless, like just thinking about the falseness that filters create, right? Like,
What are we doing?
yeah.
And I especially worry about the young women and
Mm-hmm.
the young men and the young non-binary people out
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah, I can't
And
imagine why we have a world filled with people who don't love themselves the way they are.
that breaks my heart.
Yeah,
It really does.
yeah.
If I can help one person transform their relationship with themselves, I feel like I've done good in this world. You know, our on the flip side, or really not the flip side, in the medical side of things, looking different or being different than what the Western medical system considers average,
Mm-hmm.
either being in a larger body or a smaller body or a differently abled body,
Yep.
uh comes with a lot of stigma and a lot of bias.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen so many cases and I've heard so many cases of people just having awful experiences with their healthcare provider because their healthcare provider believes that they are supposed to be able to do XYZ or look like
Mm-hmm.
XYZ. And I'm sorry, but every body is different and
Yeah,
every body is beautiful.
yeah. I love that you have I love that you have the experience of the like the beauty industry and then also combining that with your experience in the medical realm, right? And like yeah, bringing those two together because I mean, I feel like they go hand in hand.
They
Um,
really do. Your skin is a reflection
yeah.
of what's going on inside you. So if you're dealing with, let's just say you've got some redness going on in East Asian medicine, we're going to say that there's heat somewhere in your body and we need to bring that into balance, right?
Okay.
And so things like lines and wrinkles, or as we call it in the science world, rhitids. Yes, that is the scientific term for wrinkles.
Okay.
If you want to feel fancy. So that's a deficiency. That's something your body is not creating, and that's why those lines are appearing. If
Okay.
you're
So like this whole like I mean, of course the body changes with time and with age,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
And is it is it not as normal as it's like presented to us to have wrinkles as we do you know what I'm getting at? Because this is
Yeah,
not making sense coming out of my mouth, I feel like.
so so what I think you're saying is yes, wrinkles are 100% normal.
Yeah.
And it's because certain processes are slowing down in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Our cellular turnover isn't as fast as we age.
Okay.
Our skin is more prone to dehydration as we age. So water becomes that much more important.
Mm.
We lose some of our padding, especially in our face, as we age. So that can cause some sorts of sagging and,
Okay.
lines in that way. But also certain lines and show up because of amazing, amazing things. So smile lines, those are great. That means you have a lot of joy in your life.
Okay.
And in East Asian medicine, the lines across your forehead are all the lessons you learned in your 20s.
Oh, wow. Where are my lines at?
So if you lift up your eyebrows, if a line goes all the way across, that means you learned your lesson well.
Whoever watches this on YouTube, wow, they are gonna get a show.
I'm sure.
Oh my gosh.
So I believe in aging gracefully.
Mhm.
There are things that we can do to help mitigate the process, to help stimulate more collagen production, to help bring, glow and luster back to the skin,
Mhm.
without drastic sort of interventions.
Okay.
And that's really, what I try to teach people in my practice, but not all lines are bad lines. Like
Okay. Okay.
but lines
Yeah.
in general come from something that's deficient in our body.
Okay. That was totally what I was asking. Yes. So you
Good. I'm
totally
so glad.
answered.
I'm so glad.
Oh my gosh. Um, so going back to your experience in like the medical field, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I would love to know for you to share if you're open, what your experience was that led you to ultimately going and finding alternative options.
Of course. Yeah. I'm incredibly open about this in my life. I have some autoimmune challenges. Uh, and it took me over 10 years to get a diagnosis.
Mm.
Now, how I ultimately got the diagnosis was by going to a naturopath, which in the state of Oregon, naturopaths are allowed to be primary care physicians, but that's not the way it is in all states.
Okay.
So it depends on your state whether or not that diagnosis will actually hold anywhere else.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay, I didn't know that.
but my experience with mainstream Western medicine, the only advice that I was ever given was to lose weight.
Mm.
That was the only advice they ever gave me, was to lose weight.
Mm.
Um, I had widespread pain that I couldn't figure out what was going on. I had horrible gut problems, and I had these weird rashes all over my body, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I was, instead of being met with concern of like, oh my gosh, what's going on with you? Let's run some blood tests. I was met with, I'm sending you to a bariatric surgeon for a consult.
Wow.
And so that's one of the things that ultimately led me to exploring complementary and alternative medicine, because in complementary and alternative medicine, they treat you like a real person, or at least
Mm-hmm.
most people do. I mean,
Yeah.
there's outliers everywhere, but being treated holistically like a whole person rather than just pieces, parts, and being treated like the root cause of everything is the way that you physically present yourself, like size wise or shape wise,
Mhm.
but bodies come in all different shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, one of the reasons why my body has become the way that it has is because of years of going on different medications
Mm,
that messed with my hormones, that messed with my gut health, that messed with my mobility.
I think about that so often, like how, oh gosh, how many people are on all of these medications, right? And they are finding no resolve to the actual problem. So, like,
I call it the Band-Aid approach.
yeah, I mean, essentially, yes, that's what it is, just covering up the symptoms and not getting to the root of what's really going on.
Yeah. In East Asian medicine, we call it root treatment versus branch treatment.
Oh, I love that. That
Isn't
is
that
so
great?
perfect.
Yeah. I mean, that's been written about for thousands of years, but I love that terminology. So
I've
I
never heard
definitely use
that.
that in my own practice.
Yeah, that's so perfect. And it just describes it so well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I finally, after, fighting with multiple providers over many, many years, I finally ended up at the office of a naturopath who finally ran the proper blood tests. But even so, even after that, it's still an undifferentiated. So what I have is called undifferentiated connective tissue disorder, or UCTD. And so
Okay.
it's sort of a non-diagnosis, but at least it's something that can be put in my medical chart.
I imagine, like finding this naturopath doctor
Mhm.
and finally feeling like you were heard and seen. Like that had to be a whole
Everything.
feeling.
It was everything. And then from there, I went to an acupuncturist and uh, have, and that was sort of how I ended up in acupuncture school, was because I was like, oh, this stuff is awesome. It's magic.
Yeah.
I had a lot of back pain. I was in a motor vehicle accident. And afterwards, running through the gamut once again with the Western medical system, them telling me to lose weight when I had a physical injury that came from an external force of trauma, that had me end up on an acupuncturist table. And I felt worlds better in a very short amount of time compared to what I was getting with the physical therapist, occupational therapist
Now
situation.
that is the accident that you ended up with your foot that essentially was dragging, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and was it the Western medicine, like physical therapist and such that told you like, nope, there's nothing we can do?
Yeah,
Okay.
they said we can't, there's not much else we can do. You're gonna have to live with it. And it took about 6 months of regular visits with an acupuncturist, and I did not have that foot draggy problem anymore.
That's amazing. That's
So
amazing to and it's so it's I think it's such like I don't know if liberating is the word that I'm looking for, but like it's
it's
such a
close.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. To like it's I feel like it's so liberating to have a knowing inside of you like that no, like this isn't it. This isn't the way it's gonna be. And then to figure it out.
Right. It's the whole it's all in your head
Yeah.
thing, you
Yeah.
know, that I'm sure you've experienced, most people have experienced in their life
Mhm,
from Western medical providers
mhm.
is, it's all in your head. Well, that's all well and good, but even if it is in my head, like my head is a part of me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I never even thought of it that way. Like there's something going on.
Yeah. And so even if it is all in my head, well, then fix my head or teach me how to fix my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Give
that's more of what, so Eastern medicine, um, I I like to say I don't do much of anything. I just teach people how to unlock their healing abilities within themselves. I,
yeah.
I consider myself more of a facilitator.
Yeah, I love that because you can't make anybody do the work. You can't make anybody heal. You can only guide
Right.
them, and it's up to them to do what they will with what you give them.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really what's behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course, you have all of these amazing things going in your life now. You have created many amazing things. I would love for you to speak into what you're doing now, like all of the
Yeah.
things.
Well, so many fun things are on the horizon for me. I've really been wanting to step more into educational opportunities. So things like being on podcasts like this has been a new adventure for me, and being interviewed for other people's YouTube channels. I also live stream on my own YouTube channel every Monday. It's my Makeup Free Monday series.
I love it.
And uh yeah, and I have my small little practice that I love and will probably always keep, but I just started doing more online programming and more online sort of telehealth treatments to be able to facilitate being a second opinion
Mm,
uh for people who maybe their doctor is trying to tell them some of the same things that I heard,
yep.
and they want someone else to look at their blood work, or maybe they want another sort of test run.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
I can help facilitate those sorts of things. I also have been doing some coaching with teaching people how to do some methods like acupressure. I have ear seeds on, which are these fun little acupressure devices. I'll try to get close to the
Okay.
camera so you can see them. They're little 24 karat gold balls. They sort of look like earrings, but they're not. And they're acupressure devices that stay on for a few days so you can stimulate the points and can release some happy chemicals in your brain when you need.
Ooh, we all need some happy chemicals.
Yeah. And just really teaching workshops and teaching people how to empower themselves.
Yeah, I love that.
That's what I've been up to lately, and still always making space to create more products and get them out into the world.
I love that you make your own products. Like, what? That's so cool.
Yeah.
Have you had
Oh,
like
thank
a
you.
favorite product that you're just like, oh God, this is one product that I could never live without again?
Well, that would be my Melissa bomb because it's named after
Of
me.
course.
So it's made with Melissa officinalis, aka lemon balm. Um,
Okay.
with local olive oil from here in California, and some arnica and some calendula. And it's a
Ooh.
wonderful balm that I use when doing gua sha. on the body or cups on the body.
Okay.
It doesn't have a scent to it, and it's just one of those, like, keep it in your purse for if you need to rub a little bit. That's
Okay.
that's my favorite of my own products.
Yeah.
My other favorite product of mine is my cleansing grains, just because it's based on an ancient imperial recipe from Princess Yongchui. And
Ooh.
it's a exfoliant. You mix it with either water or honey, and it's just a lovely, like, herbal exfoliant that you can use as a mask.
That sounds heavenly.
Oh, it's really fun.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, that's fun. That's so cool. I love that. Um, if there is one thing, one piece of advice, one whatever that you could leave our audience with, what would it be?
You are worth it. You are loved, and you deserve all the amazing things coming your way. And just know that inside yourself. And remember that when you feel good inside, you can project that outwards, and
Mm.
that makes the world a better place.
Take care of you, dude. Take
Yeah,
care of
take
you
care of you.
first.
You
Yep.
cannot fill from an empty cup, so please, please take care of you. There's only one of you.
Yep. I love that. Thank you.
Eh, You're welcome. And don't forget to hydrate.
I love that you say that at the end of everything. Like you told me that when we connected the other day, and I'm like, got you.
I say it at the end of every video. It's become one of my taglines.
I love it. I love it. Don't forget to hydrate. And with that, my friends, we'll end it here. Melissa, thank you so much for your time, your
Thank you so
energy,
much.
and sharing all of your goodness with us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was a joy connecting with you always.
You as well. Thank you.